Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Brian if you happen to be new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, you sexy beast. And that's what you get for subscribing, by the way. Free compliments at the start of these videos. Now, if you guys have not seen, I have officially retired from Final Fantasy XIV, and as a part of that retirement, I am finishing up the last of the controller guides. This happens to be the very Bard controller guide, and I really hope you guys end up enjoying this video and that you continue to enjoy Final Fantasy XIV for many, many years to come. Now, all that being said, if you guys want Final Fantasy XIV coverage, there's a lot of great content creators out there, and I'll do my best to link them in the description of this video. But beyond just linking them in this video, I would like you to point you to the description of this video, because I'm going to include all of my user macros for the Bard. If you guys want to have your abilities set up, even from level 1, whether you're a new player or a returning player, you can actually come and I'll have all of these in the description for you. You can click execute and it will actually set up your hotbars just like I have them listed here. And hopefully that ends up saving you countless amounts of time. Now, one of the things that if I was a kind of a parting favor, if you will, if you guys could petition Square Enix to make these tradable. I would love it if Square Enix allowed you to trade macros with one another in game, especially for the PlayStation players out there who will still have to go and key these in manually. It's just a little bit of extra work for PlayStation players, but it's a step nonetheless that I wish that we could just remove from the game. So at the end of the day, thank you so much for being here. If you feel like the video earns it, you can hit that like button, but I know there's a lot of people who are sad that I'm leaving Final Fantasy XIV, and to them, I just wish you guys all the best of luck. I love you very much. Thank you so much for the support over the years, and I hope you still enjoy this guide and the remaining guides that will be rolling out here over the next couple of days, and we'll just leave it at that. All right, guys, let's jump in to the main guide. All right, to start off, it's important that if you've never set up a controller in this game at all, I'm going to point you over to System and Character Configuration. You can do this also from the main menu before you get into the game, but if you ever want to swap between keyboard and mouse, you have this beautiful little toggle which will give you that ability to do so. Beyond that, that's how you kind of switch the modes. Note that your keyboard and mouse and your controller are always actually active, so you can kind of set up your game to the best way possible. But also within the controller setup, you actually have the ability to pick which controller if you want to have different options. And personally speaking, under the button configuration, I have my X and Y buttons reversed. I like to jump with the X button and I like to pull up my map with the Y button. That kind of harkens back to my, SNES days, where the map main menu was really driven off of kind of, the topmost button. Nintendo's throwing me off with their button configuration, but now it's the Y button, and that's just something how I like to have that preference. Also in this, I have the execute macro 99 to the R3 click event, and I'll show you guys that macro right now in case you're interested, but it also will be in the description of this video. Whenever you have a macro 98 and 99 selected as a button press, it gives you the ability that that button now becomes a macro. So here you can see the flying mount roulette, my sprint, and my PvP action sprint. And then the macro icon that I have set there is whatever image I wanted to see it on there. So you could actually put this as a button, or you could have it anywhere abound on the screen if you wanted to just click it and use it. I like to make it very accessible, and that gives me the ability out in the field to easily summon my mount, and or if I want to, if I'm jumping, I can actually then switch to sprint. If you cannot summon the mount, it will use whatever sprint is available, whether your normal PvE sprint is up or your PvP sprint is up. So that's going to be how that kind of generally functions. But back into character configuration, the thing I do want to point all new players to is all the different target and filter options that they have available. I love auto target according to priority, enable full auto target, and you have the choice between closest range and line of sight. Pick whatever one ends up feeling the best for you. Under filters, I have custom when my weapon is sheathed. You can see here I can select enemies and alliance members, but I turn off party members. And then for my enemies, when my weapon is drawn, I have it just with aggroing specific, duty specific enemies, etc. You can add additional filters by holding down left bumper and pressing one of the 4 face buttons, but you do have to enable this, and you can kind of just play around with what ultimately works the best for you. Under hotbar, you have a lot of different options when it comes to display. I have hide unassigned slots turned off. If you have that turned on, you'll see all these little floating gray bars. I like to have the screen a little bit cleaner, and so I have it set that way. Under sharing, hotbars 1 through 5 are job and class specific. Cross hotbar only 7 and 8 are actually shared, meaning that no matter what job you're on, those are going to be the same icons. Under the cross hotbar section, I have always display. I turned off help, but if you're learning and you want to kind of get the names of the skills a little bit better, you can turn that on. And then if you're under the hotbar settings, I use hold. That means when you hold it, it's held. When you release it, it's not. If you have hand dexterity issues, I'd point you to toggle or mixed, but you will lose out on some features like the expanded cross hotbar and the W cross hotbar. Then you can see here I have always displayed the W cross hotbar. You can turn that on and off, and I have returned the cross hotbar after the W cross hotbar input, allowing me to put off various different buffs with a double tap and then getting back into kind of my main rotation. That's going to be a user preference, and if you struggle with the double tap of the W cross hotbar, you can always adjust the input timer here to fit your needs accordingly. Finally, under custom, enable the expanded crossbar with LT and RT. So whether you hold LT and then RT, or RT then LT, it gives you a whole different set of abilities. I have those set to cross hotbar 2 and left and right. And the same thing goes for the W cross hotbar with the double tap. Now, you'll see here that it is linked to 3 and 3 left and 3 right. And what that ends up doing is that if I kind of close out of here, I'm not going to save any changes. And then let's say I want to drag and drop items and skills, you do not have the ability to. I can take this skill and I could try and drop it here, but it will not let me. This is just a visual representation. You actually have to go into hotbar set 3, which you can on the controller by holding down the right bumper, and then up, down, left, right, 1, 2, A, B, X, Y. Those will allow you to change what hotbar you're currently selected, and this will give you the ability to move things around. And again, back to those macros, if you guys have not used those, if you ever kind of make a mistake, you can always just re-execute those macros so you can find something that works for you. And it's my hope that you find something that works really well for you, and this ends up just kind of being the starter idea that gets you going setup, so then you can kind of find what ends up working best for you. But now I think I want to talk to you guys about my skill layout placement and kind of hit the dummy for a little bit and talk about how it feels with the Bard. And hopefully then you guys will be ready to jump into the game and really just have a lot of fun with this job, because at the end of the day, I think Bard is really one of the most fun jobs that I've played in a long time. All right, so let's go through the skills and the placements that I have set up for the macros. Again, when it comes to targeting on a controller, you can always press A, and it's just going to default to the best and closest target for you. If you want to switch targets, you have a couple options. You can use left and right on the D-pad. If you're in a party, you can use up and down to select your different party members. That's one of the reasons why I turn off party selection in whatever filter that I'm in. If you want to just draw out your weapon, you can see here how it changes your different filter. Above my HP, I'll tell you what kind of mode that you're in. And so with that mode, with enemies, it would obviously remove any ability to select other things out there in the world. So again, pressing A. The nice thing about this, and especially on playing a controller, whenever you're like playing with a patch, there's a lot of people in the area or you're having a hard time targeting the NPC, always just press A. It will prioritize the story-driven NPC over everybody else for you. It's really quite intelligent, and they did a really good job with that. But let's go ahead and start attacking this dummy, and you guys can kind of see here exactly how I have it laid out. And let's go ahead and talk about how all this ends up working together. So, first and foremost, we're going to go over here on our left-hand side. You see here I have foot graze, and then I have my limit break here, and then on the ABXY, and the reason I always like to put these here is I want instant access. I want to be able to move and be able to fire off, that second wind. I want to have the ability to be able to pop various different skills when I need to on the move. Very easy access to be able to double tap and press whatever face button is there. But I've got leg graze, I have head graze, now I've got arm's length, and like you can see here, second wind. Down here on the left-hand side, I think of this more as my, AoE kind of aspect and my single target kind of rotation more or less here. But on the AoE side of it, we'll start here on the A button. You can see here it's Venomous Bite. This is an upgrade from Quick Nock. I have it set so it will set Quick Nock, so no matter what level you're at, it's going to work just fine for you. You can see here then I have Apex Arrow, Arrow Bite, and then Rain of Death. Raging Strikes, Troubadour, Nature's Minne, and the Warden's Paean, all listed here. We'll go into the expanded here in just a second, because you might be wondering about songs, and we'll talk about that here in a second. On the right hand side, you can see here I've got Burst Shot, then I've got Refulgent Arrow, which is the straight shot upgrade, Sidewinder, and Bloodletter. Inferial Arrow, Caustic Bite, which is the Venomous Bite upgrade, and Storm Bite, which is the Wind Bite upgrade, and then Iron Jaws. And then finally over here on the double tap for the W crosshotbar, you can see here I've got Raging Strikes, Pitch Perfect, Barrage, Battle Voice, Radiance Finale, and then another Arm's Length if I want to just use access for that. Let's talk about music and songs, because a big part of the Bard is a part of its songs. And so you can see here on the expanded crosshotbar left, but if I jump into 2, this is exactly where everything's at. So on this side you see Peloton, Foot Graze, Repelling Shot, then you see Mage's Ballad, followed by Army's Paean, and then Wanderer's Minuet with an additional Battle Voice. On the right hand side, Radiant Finale. This is just in duplicate, so you don't have to necessarily put that there. I think that got automatically assigned, but it is what it is. Apex Arrow, Repelling Shot, and then you can see Mages, Army, and Wanderers, and then again a Radiant Finale. Now that is in incorporation of obviously the various different UI elements. So here, if I just go ahead and keep on singing, I can kind of go back into my main rotation, start putting out the damage. I probably should put some dots on, which that's where Iron Arrows is just really one of the best skills of this game, because I love being able to keep that up and running. So as I go ahead and continue to focus in on this dummy here, you can see here my song continues to play, and then eventually I'm going to be able to push that song into the 3rd category, which I love to go ahead and then buff the party's overall damage, following it up with the Pitch Perfect, which triggers off of how many little nodes within the UI. While we are here, let's go ahead and go into my HUD layout. As a good part of this, you can see my song gauge right here, status and elements and progress bar. Each of these elements do have UI settings, so some of them are quite detailed. A lot of different information that you can jump into, making it really easy. Whoops, didn't mean to close that. HUD layout again. And from here, I just have everything trying to be within a certain reasonable standard of what's going on, what I need to see. Obviously, cross hotbar, my expanded cross hotbar, and then again, my debuffs and buffs are always really important to see at the start of it. I have my other debuffs up here listed, and then main menu really isn't actually a part of that, but you can see here my action help window likes to jump in and get in the way. So my UI I think is fairly simple, and I try to keep things clean. I turn off my minimap just because I end up enjoying the immersion of the game much more without a minimap, and that ends up being the case. Now let's say if we want to switch over to AoEs. You get those AoE pools, you'll have the ability to do all that and so much more by playing around with it. If you need to get out of bad, you can jump back, get back into a song, and then start doing your AoE damage more as well. So from the core of it, I find Bard has the best mobility, the best flexibility. It's a great starting job and class as a part of the Archer as its base to learn on and to continue to grow from. And I think it gives you a lot of flexibility to put out a lot of damage, but also be able to bring a lot of utility to the party itself. I think they did a really good job, and that's just kind of be the end of my opinion for it. So hopefully you guys got something good from this video. If you feel like the video earns it, always engage with the video as well. If not, no worries. I wish you guys all the absolute very best, and hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Check out the description for the different macros, and yeah, sound off with any questions, comments, concerns, and thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, take care.